If you are totally stressed out, this video is going to be exactly what you need to see. And no, I'm not going to tell you to take a self-care bath and eat avocados and spout all the useless tips that you've probably already heard before. Instead, I'm going to teach you a real scientific theory behind how stress works, and I'm going to tell you exactly how to apply it to change and transform your relationship with stressful tasks. Hi, my name is Dr. Karin Nordin, and I am a PhD level mindset and behavior change expert. Here at Body Brain Alliance, we bring you the real science behind self-help, and we love to give you actionable tools that you can actually use immediately in your life in order to change things in a better direction. If that's something that you're looking for, or if you're trying to improve your life in any way, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't forget to later. All right, let's dive right into it. What I am going to teach you today is something called stress appraisal theory. Now, it's important to know that this is a scientific theory, which means that while it has a lot of science supporting it, this is also only one example of how scientists think stress may work. It's something that's constantly in flux, constantly in formation, and constantly being reinforced by brand new studies. Regardless, it's very, very useful for thinking about stress and for transforming our own relationship with it. So let's dive in. How does stress actually work? Well, according to this theory, we encounter a stimulus at first. So the stimulus in this case is something in the ground that looks like a snake. The very, very first thing that our brain is going to do almost entirely subconsciously is decide whether it falls into one of three categories. It could be a threat, it could be something good, or it could be something irrelevant. If it's irrelevant, we won't even, quote, notice it. We won't even pay attention to that particular thing. If it's a good thing, then we'll react in a different way. But if it's potentially a bad thing, then that first level of primary appraisal is that this particular stimulus gets interpreted as a bad thing. It gets interpreted as a potential threat. From there, we are going to go into a secondary stage of appraisal. And we're going to look at that threat, and our brain is going to ask a key question. Do I have the resources to handle this threat? The answer is either going to be yes or no. Either I think it's a snake and I think I can take on a snake because I have mad martial arts skills, or in my actual case, I think it's a snake and I do not have the resources to take that on. If I don't have the resources to take that on, it stays marked as a threat. But if I do have the resources to take that on, this stress appraisal is going to mark it as a challenge. This is the difference between people who pursue and accomplish hard things and those who don't. We're looking at that potential snake in the grass, and some of us are viewing it as a challenge, but others of us are viewing it as a threat. One of the things that this theory asserts that we can do as humans is we can work on intentionally reappraising a specific stimulus and moving it so we don't see it as a threat anymore. Instead, we take it on as a challenge. For example, let's say that you just lost your job and you have to go on the job hunt, which isn't a super exciting or fun thing to have to do. You might be perceiving that right now as something that is threatening, something that is incredibly difficult, something that you're not going to be able to do, which means your stress levels are going to be really, really high. But I want to ask you, what would it be like to think about that thing you're stressed about as a challenge? What would change in your mind if you made it into a game and if it was something you were actually challenging yourself to do? Now, to go back a step, the key distinguisher of what is a threat and what is a challenge is resources, which means that if we have something that's threatening us and we increase the amount of resources we have available, we then might start viewing it as a challenge. Let's say in this hypothetical world, you reach out to a friend who's also currently unemployed and you say, hey, I have a game for you and I to play. Every single day, let's do a job check-in and let's see who of us can apply to the most jobs in the shortest period of time. Maybe just having the accountability as a resource with the friend of connecting every single day about your job hunt experience, that might give you enough of a boost to reinterpret something that's super stressful as something that could be a challenge and could be engaging and fun. The truth is, stress is not all bad for us. That's a big misconception about stress. In fact, everything that is good that comes into our lives is a source of stress. This is something that I covered further in this previous video, so I highly recommend you check that out if you want to learn more. But what I want you to get today is this. If you are feeling really freaked out about something, if you are feeling really stressed out about it, I want you to, number one, engage in more resources, acquire more resources, brainstorm what resources you might need, and then number two, work on shifting your mindset so you're taking on this particular thing as a challenge. In the comments, I would love to hear your reaction to this video. What's something that you're kind of stressed out about right now? And is there a resource that you can give yourself that might help you move a little bit more to that challenge side of the spectrum? Let me know in the comments. Check out that previous stress video, and I will see you next week.